Hey everybody, it's tea time with the diva. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, because we're going to get into it. This tea time is dedicated to Diddy, I guess 2024. From this moment into the end, and probably a major part of 2025 is going to be a lot of Diddy stories. So buckle your seatbelts. You know what? I, I want to say almost his goose is almost cooked. And the reason why I'm saying that is because now people are coming out left and right with their Diddy stories. A lot of them are claiming that they knew from the moment they laid eyes on Diddy that something was wrong, that he was sinister, that he was controlling, and everything in between. Now we have a model from originally from London. She's in her 40s now. She said when she was young in her 20s, she attended Diddy parties and they was very scary. Let's listen to her speak in her own words. My thing is, if you go to a Diddy party, if you have went to a Diddy party and you knew early on that it was not your type of party, I'm just confused as to why these people continue to go. But that's me and my crazy mind. So let's take a listen to what. I'll wait to this ad so we can skip it.
One sip of my beverage, and the whole side of my face felt like I had a stroke.
When I was at Diddy's parties, I met Diddy.
Just be aware. Diddy's the host and Diddy is the leader.
I'm Precious Muir. I'm from London, England. I'm a TV broadcaster and TV personality, best known for being in The Circle, but it's not the only thing that I'm known for.
But I had like a whole 10-year career as a model in Manhattan, New York for my whole entire 20s. I was there in 2005. A lot of jobs that models got back then was networking. Back then, we didn't have the luxury of social media. We didn't have the luxury of Instagram where we could DM a brand directly. We had to rely on our manager, our booker, our agent, and if they didn't have those connections, we had to make those connections. And so going to parties was not even just an option, it was part of our job. I actually was approached by a VIP host, I guess you would call him a club promoter, who basically was the person that helped organise a Diddy party. They would often shuttle us over in a shuttle bus or SUVs. I was nervous, I was excited, I couldn't believe I was invited, to be amongst these kind of people because I hadn't made a name for myself. I was still trying to establish myself in this industry. I wanted to make connections. And I was so young. I felt like I was just trying to figure out what to do with my career and how else to further my career otherwise. However many seats could hold, all these models to go to these parties, they just put us all in there and took us to the party. I was at a party that had a lot of entertainment industry people, musicians, singers, rappers, and I literally took one sip of my beverage and the whole side of my face felt like I had a stroke. I remember this like it was yesterday, and I just met these people.
People would slip stuff into the drinks that were out. So it might have been in the mixers, it might have been in like anything. So you had to be super careful. There's so many traps that you could fall into and you had to be aware of all of them. I mean, there was a lot of girls that didn't make it. There was a lot of girls that gave up modeling. There was a lot of girls that went into therapy. There was a lot of girls that went into rehab. There was a lot of girls that just went home.
One thing that concerned me the most was seeing children. I was like, why would a parent, as much as it's a day party, as much as it's the Hamptons, like, why would you bring your child to something like this? There's a lot of girls that were there to try to impress people. They were hooking up in the pool, kissing and touching and groping each other naked in the pool. There was a lot of dancers performing, dancers around in different outfits and stuff like that. Like, this is not an atmosphere for children at all.
I think the Diddy parties, the later it got, the worse it got. So everybody's been drinking all day. Everyone's loosened up. Things got a bit more aggressive. girls that looked like video vixens would arrive, shaped in a different way. So they had very big bums, big breasts, porn stars as well. And
she know what a porn star look like? I don't know if I would just be at a party and look and see someone and say, "Ooh, that's a porn star." But let's continue.
they would be grinding and dancing half naked all over the rappers. Extreme tension of sex around us. So those types of girls would do anything. There was parts of the house that you can go, more drug taking, more drinking. I did see girls hooking up, people having sex. I did see two men kissing. Like, that stuff did happen later towards the end of the evening. Like, that was around us. We saw that. We were like these little rabbits, and they were like these wolves that would surround you. And you felt like you were fresh meat. Yeah. You were watched a lot, like with your phone. So they'd be like, oh, you know, don't take too many pictures and stuff like that, because this is a private setting. Yeah, security was quite on that, you know, don't take too many pictures, or, you know, just capturing too much of what's going on here in the party. Like, very exclusive, very private, because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of big names there. It's a lot of big celebrities. I saw a lot of big celebrities at these parties. In the first time I ever met Hugh Hefner, we took a picture and he groped my ass. That's in your mind forever. You feel like you're a form of entertainment, and it was uncomfortable. You don't want to upset them, because they had a way of trying to manipulate you to think, if you don't do what I say, I can ruin your career. So there's a lot of pressure on a young girl in a new place. And then you think, well, why do I have to do this to get there? Why can't I just do it the right way? It's when you start to participate in the drug taking, that is when things escalate into something different. When I was at Diddy's parties, I met Diddy. I met Cassie. He is a very unique individual. You can sense that he likes to be in control. And I don't think anyone really ever says no to him. I kept my distance because I met him not only at his house in Hamptons, but I also saw him a lot in Manhattan, in New York. And I was always concerned about rappers coming on to me, and I don't look like those girls with, you know, with voluptuous, I look like a girl. The drug taking was very, very casual. Hearing all the allegations and knowing the actual details of it all, I am disgusted, but I'm not surprised at all about the accusations that has come out against Diddy. The fact that it was filmed against the person's knowledge, I think is wrong. All these celebrities that were at these parties are still celebrities and very big names now.
Whew.
I think some of the things
she had a lot to say. We'll talk about it, but let me get through some of this article. I went to Diddy's scary parties as a young model. A lot of my friends from that time didn't make it, but the choice I made saved my life. A British TV personality has revealed how she attended Diddy's notorious parties as a young model living in New York, and the choice she believes saved her life. Listen, if I were her and I saw all of that and I didn't like it, I personally would have never went back to another party. Anyway, Precious Muir moved to the Big Apple in 2005 during her early 20s and was told the only way to make a name for herself was to network, which often involves smoozing at glitzy parties attended by the rich and famous. Now, I will also say this. I don't care what industry you are in, you have to network. When you network and get to know people, that's how you find out about jobs that maybe are not posted anywhere else. That's how you get a leg up, so to speak. But just because you network doesn't mean that you have to indulge. I'm not a drinker, been to plenty of parties, and I never drunk. Okay. So it's just, you know, it's a matter of how much you do when you go to these said parties, right? All right. So but there was a dark side to these bastards. where young girls were offered drinks laced with substances, goaded into having sex, and filmed without consent. So I also feel that now every time someone tells a story and it involves Diddy, they're going to definitely say, there was drinks laced with substances, people was being filmed without their consent. They're always going to add these things to the particular story. I mean, I feel like you can add that now because you're hearing all of this, but if you knew that then, again, why would you go back to another party? U.S. rapper accused of kidnapping, drugging, and coercing women into sexual activities with upwards of 120 victims already coming forward. Now 40 and an experienced broadcaster, Precious feels it is the right time to tell what really happened at the disgraced mogul's notorious parties, revealing how her decision not to take drugs saved her life after many of her contemporaries at the time either quit modeling, into rehab, or ended up dead. Speaking to Daily Mail Online, Precious said there were a lot of girls who didn't make it, a lot of girls who gave up modeling or went into therapy or rehab. Not doing drugs saved my life. I truly believe that not participating in drugs prevented me from going into a dark place that many other girls went to. Precious, who starred in the first series of the reality show The Circle on Channel 4 in 2018, spent 10 years living in Manhattan, New York, working as a model, and in that pre-social media age, was urged to connect with influential figures in order to land lucrative contracts. To a fresh-laced Londoner, the prospect of smoothing industry heavyweights was initially an exciting one. Precious explained, my agent really wanted me to network, go out there and meet people. Opportunities would arise. I was encouraged to go to parties and events because it was important to meet the right people. I was new to the country and needed to make connections with people that I couldn't get in going to castings. A lot of jobs that models got back then were through networking. And that is very true. I wanted to be invited and be around those amazing and incredible people. So if I had the opportunity, if you had the opportunity, you went. Back then, we didn't have the luxury of social media and Instagram to message a brand directly. Going to parties weren't just an option, but they were part of our job. She's a beautiful girl. Precious revealed she was approached by a club promoter while attending a brand event for Ciroc Vodka, who offered her the chance to attend a party hosted by Combs in New York in 2007. He told her shuttle buses or blacked out SUVs would transport her and fellow models from the Hamptons, where she was staying, to a nearby party, which was attended by a host of A-list celebrities. Precious said, I felt nervous, excited. I couldn't believe I had been invited to be amongst these kinds of people. I hadn't made a name for myself. I was still trying to establish myself. I was so young, I didn't know how else to further my career. I had heard stories from other models who said you have to be very careful when you go to these parties because there are people who will try to hit on you, and I was young and naive. Precious had other reasons to be cautious. Before the Combs party, she sipped a spiked drink at another industry bash, which numbed half of her face. She was also warned by a friend not to smoke any weed, as Diddy AIDS would allegedly sprinkle stuff in it. Plus, the vodka shots were rumored to be laced with substances as one of the many traps. So she heard about this, and this is part of what I was saying all along. We, the general public who are not in that industry, we heard sprinkles about Diddy here and there. And then you know what? The top blew off, so to speak, once Cassie sued him, and then we heard all kinds of crazy stories. But in the industry, these people heard about it, knew about it way before we did. If you tell me there's a possibility that this party that I want to go to, that all of this stuff, there's so many traps that I can fall into, a booby hole there, and there, I'm not going. So someone warned her ahead of time that all of this can happen at this party, and she still went. But we'll continue. She continued, we arrived at the party, and as you come into the house, There were servers giving you champagne. There were certain spaces where the big celebrities would sit, and they would sit and talk amongst themselves. There were also day beds and sofas. Everything was white, and we were all wearing white as well. We could be in the party for a few moments and someone would offer me substances immediately. Do you want a line of cocoa? Do you want some cocoa? Do you want to smoke weed? Menace into the party. They went to kick it off, and they menace into the party. They wanted to kick it off the right way. So unfortunately, I think a lot of these celebrity events are, laced with the substances. Now, listen, you have the right to say yay or nay. And you also have the right to, once you see that that's what they're doing, to never find yourself at said party again. But Precious refused any offers of suspicious looking substances. So she said she was young and naive, but she could tell the substances were suspicious looking. Okay, admitting I got a lot of stick for it, but it was a form of control. They wanted to see who would be easily manipulated, who would take the substances, and where they would go after that. It was the first step. If you're okay with the substances, then what else are you going to be okay with? Now, I could believe that. Precious added, I know it sounds strange, but when you get these advances from big celebrity men, you're thinking, wow, he works for this brand and works for this company. They all have a selling point to them. I would call them the suits. They said they would help me in my career and they would try to charm you. The model said rappers in particular were the most aggressive and security would intervene if they saw guests taking pictures on phones. She explained the rappers were very aggressive in my opinion. They were in your face. There would be a lot of hand gestures. They would grab you close. A couple of rappers took my phone and started putting their number in my phone. You would watch a lot with your phone. They didn't want you taking photos because it was a private setting. There was security. They didn't want you to capture too much. It was a very exclusive and very private party. Precious host Diddy as very much the leader of the pack at the parties, but admitted there were other wolves in the house. There had to be. He couldn't be there slaying down everybody. She believes some guests were only there to take advantage of young models and girls who had dreams of becoming singers, dancers, and entertainers. Another concerning aspect about the parties which struck Precious was the attendance of young children who were mixing with guests during the day before the darker, more debauched, sinister side of the party kicked in later in the evening. But the young attendees would still have been privy to nudity and S encounters. And unfortunately, I think because even during the day, they were offering all kinds of substances and people were drinking, then yeah, the kids probably did see a whole lot. She explains these were day parties that went into night, but I saw children there. I thought as much as it was a day party in the Hamptons, why would you bring your child to something like this? You're seeing half-naked women and naked women in the pool. There were a lot of girls who were trying to impress people, hooking up in the pool, kissing and touching and groping each other naked in the pool. There were dancers performing in different outfits. This is not an atmosphere for children at all. I saw people hooking up sexually. When I went to the bathroom, I saw condom wrappers, fragments of cocoa on the side with whatever thing they used to sniff it. People don't understand that the atmosphere was palpable. The sex is around you, and there was so much graphic behavior of sex. You can feel it and see it. I walk past a room and I can hear people having, relations in the bedroom. Indeed, later into the party, the more extreme the behavior became. Precious described how girls who looked like video vixens with big bums and big breasts were ferried in, as well as P stars. Did she watch those movies to know that when they walked in that person was a star from one of these movies? But I'll continue. She said these type of girls would do anything. They were grinding and dancing in on platforms. So here's the thing. We're judging the other people that are at that party, right? But she came there to network. Just because her networking was different than their networking, wasn't they all there for the same thing, trying to advance whatever career they thought they was going to have or get or did already have? There was more substance taking, more drinking, more dancing, and more everything. I saw girls hooking up, girls kissing, men hooking up. That stuff did happen. It was around us, and we saw that. All right, so people were hooking up. Were they being forced to hook up, or was they hooking up on their own because they wanted to? Precious says she met Diddy 54 at one of his parties when he was dating singer Cassie Ventura 38, who he was captured assaulting inside a Los Angeles hotel hallway in 2016. The model admits she felt instantly concerned for his partner. She met this man and she met Cassie. And as soon as she met him, she felt concern for Cassie. The people was with the foolery for me, who was 21 at the time, as she looked so young like herself, and felt that their slender physiques were preyed on by the guests. She explained, when I was at Diddy's parties, I did meet Diddy. I met Cassie too a few times. He is a very unique individual. You can sense that he has a lot of confidence and that he likes to be in control and tells his inner circle what to do. And I don't think anyone ever really says no to him. These people are doing too much. I kept my distance because I met him not only at his house in the Hamptons, but also in Manhattan, because there was always a sponsored event. Me and Cassie were very similar in age as well. So I looked at her and thought, she's so pretty and we're similar in age. She was of age, but she had a very young face. I was always concerned about rappers coming on to me and trying to instigate these kinds of things. You can tell they wanted to sleep with me. Basically, when I look so young, I looked like a child. I didn't look like these girls with the voluptuous shape. This girl's doing too much. Precious also confirmed cameras were scattered around the house, filming activity in each room. So she confirmed there was cameras scattered around the house and filming activity in each room. But then early in her video, she said, or early in this article, she said, people being filmed without their consent is horrible. So you saw the cameras scattered throughout the house. Was you the only one to see the cameras? Nobody else saw them? And everybody else was just filmed without their consent? This girl's putting 20 on 10, but let's continue. Rumors have been swirling around Hollywood regarding Diddy secretly holding tapes of his A-list guests having relations at his parties, which they fear may come out in his trial. I guess that's Precious and her boyfriend now. No, I can't with these people. Precious said, I was aware of the cameras inside Diddy's house. Everybody knew a property of this value would have cameras everywhere. Everybody knew a property of this value would have cameras everywhere. First, she said people being filmed without their consent is wrong. Now she's saying everybody was aware of the cameras and everybody knew that a property of that side would have cameras. Did they think the cameras was up there but not filming? I don't want to out any celebrities because they know where because they knew they were there. I was new to the country and industry and I was aware of the cameras. All right. So now she's trying to say that everybody knew these cameras were there. It's down to their conscience and soul. Okay, well, let me back up because you got to break this thing down. Maybe she's saying that Diddy was not the only one that knew. Other celebrities knew. But hold on, but she's saying she knew too. This girl is messy. If they have taken advantage of somebody or drugged them, then the opportunity to physically and SA someone, it will be on camera. I thought that everybody that was getting on in these kinds of things were consenting, and now it's come out that obviously it wasn't the case. If I had known at the time that it was going to that this was going on behind these doors, I would have said something 100%. The longer the parties went on, the more X-rated they got, and Precious admit male guests would try to entice young models to stay and head down to the basement after the last cars taking attendees back home had gone. She explained the later it got at Diddy's parties, the worse it got. Everybody has been drinking all day, they have loosened up, things get more aggressive, and the atmosphere changed. There will be guys at the party encouraging girls to stay and go downstairs into the basement or different rooms and to stay longer with them. You had to make that decision. Well, see, the feds are acting like everybody was forced, but she's saying you had to make that decision. It was uncomfortable because you felt obligated in a way because you are there as their guest and you feel like you're a form of entertainment. You don't want to piss them off in any way or upset them because they had a way of trying to manipulate you. And if you didn't do what they said, they could ruin your career. It was a lot of pressure on a young girl in a new place, and I felt vulnerable. And we were there, and we were these little rabbits, and they were these wolves surrounding us. She's talking out of two sides of her on that. She added, you felt like you were obligated in some way to do what they asked you to do. It wasn't a good feeling. I felt privileged to be there, but it was scary when things started to get dark and how it started to turn. I don't know how I made it. You don't want to get yourself blacklisted. Diddy is currently incarcerated in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center as he awaits trial and could face a lengthy prison sentence if found guilty. He denies the charges. Precious, who is in a relationship with Fats, a small singer, Ben Afudu, 52, admits she wasn't surprised when she heard the rapper had been arrested. She said, hearing all the allegations I'm discussing, I can't understand why a person would want to be like this, but I'm not surprised at the accusations because when I was at the Diddys Parties, it was borderline already. It was a very adult atmosphere. It could go anywhere. But the thing is, the way she's explaining it is people had options. The way she's explaining it is that they're the same SUVs and shuttles that brought the people over. These individuals had the opportunity to get back on a shuttle and leave before the other party, the after party started. This is messy, but you know what? Everything with this Diddy situation is messy. People are now coming out telling their stories. And I told you before, I'm not saying that Diddy is innocent. I mean, I think this man has done a lot of stuff. But how much criminal stuff he has done, we'll never know, because I feel like a lot of these individuals are rewriting history. And the way that they're rewriting the history is to make it seem like when they was there, everything about them and what they saw and what happened was very innocent. They, of course, never did anything off-collared or crazy, and they always left or found their way out of a crazy situation before the after party happened. Listen, people, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. You got to let me know what you think about Precious and her story. Let me know what you think about her and her story. I want to say this. It was a little judgy because, you know, she was this innocent looking girl, and then the rest of the people that came in, they was hoes, whores, and all kind of other stuff, and they was P-stars. And by sight, as a young naive model, because that's what she called herself, she knew what she was seeing. She knew what a video vixen looked like versus a P-star. She saw the exact times that these individuals started to come in the party. That she didn't drink a bottle of water. I mean, if people are so sinister, I would think they would be spiking everything, including the water. But she was at this party for hours while everybody else was getting drunk, doing this, all kind of stuff. She never touched nothing. I could believe she never touched any substances, but she never had anything to drink. She saw the young kids there, and she said to herself, oh my God, who would bring their young kid to this? And all she talked about was people making out and indulging in substances. I didn't hear her say anything about anybody being forced, anybody being asked to do this against their will. Now, somebody can come up to you and ask you, and you may feel obligated because you was their guest. You can say, not this time, and be out. Listen, guys, chat with me. I'll chat back. I'll see you on the next video. A mess.